actually under greatest hits?
Their very first record was in 1959.
Yeah.
So there could be a lot on the greatest hits, because they started out as a music thing before it ever became animated or anything else.
Which is just bizarre.
I know.
Yeah.
That's where that really terrible Witch Doctor song comes from.
Oh my God.
Magnificent, I think, because of the influence of this next act. You know, the fellow who created the Witch Doctor and made it the national rage among all of the youngsters is a cousin of Bill Saroyan. He goes under the name of David Seville. Now, here is the record that has really swept the country. David, tell him about the Witch Doctor. I told the Witch Doctor I was in love with you.
Really?
Yeah, that was the first single off of their first album in 1959.
That is a problematic song.
Yeah.
Are we recording?
Oh, it is, but it doesn't matter because I'll cut it out. It's just
no, that's
set up
fine.
to go.
It's still problematic.
It is.
You can keep that in. That's a problematic song.
Yeah. You ready to start?
We've already started.
Have we?
We have.
Oh my God, space time. How does it work?
Yes, I know.
Like that in front of your face.
Yes, and then I'll be a surprise.
Okay. Then let's go with that. You're a surprise.
Okay.
Hi, everyone.
I was to my mom.
I'm sure you're surprised and a delight to everybody.
No.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Coats and Jackets. And today I have with me a special guest, if he wants to show his face, Matt LeDrew.
Hi.
Actually, do you prefer Matt or Matthew?
I have no preference whatsoever.
Okay.
Although there are some children in my life that found out my real name because they call me Matt, and they came out and was like, I know your secret. I'm like,
you're actually
what
Matthew.
have you heard? You're Matthew. I'm like, that's the same name.
That's cute.
Yeah.
So in addition to delighting children, you also delight readers with many books that you've written and published.
Yes, I am the publisher of Engine Books. We have over 40 titles currently. Not all of them written by me. 10 or 15 of them written by me, because it started with just me. But we've got a lot of great titles now from Paul Carberry and Amanda Levante, and a whole bunch of fun genre titles. If you're a genre reader, you should probably check us out.
Perfect. And I've reviewed some of the books on here before because I really love the books a lot.
Except Jacoby Street. You did not like that
Oh,
one.
no, I did, though.
I know. Yeah.
And the From the Rock series, which is awesome.
Yes.
And you have a new From the Rock about to come out. Dystopia just came out, and you're about to launch Flights.
Flights, yes. Flights from the Rock, to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the first transatlantic flight, which took off from Newfoundland.
Awesome.
Where we are.
And you have some pilots as authors, which is really cool.
We do have 2 pilots as authors, and what was really funny is one of our editors is a flight historian. And so when she was reading the stories, we kept the names off the stories so that people wouldn't be influenced. And she was like, I think these 2 are pilots. And when I went and looked at the bios, I was like, yep, they are both bush pilots.
That's awesome.
Which is cool. Bush pilots is a cool thing that I didn't know enough about before I started doing it, but it's like, there's no runway. It's like a takeoff and like you literally just find a spot, like a field with enough spot, and be like, that's a good spot to land.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
But we're not actually here to talk about flights.
No.
We're here to talk about Chipmunks Rock the House.
Yes, Chipmunks Rock the House, the greatest album of all time.
So this is funny because and you'll need to hold that a little higher. There, whoa, no, too high. There you go. Oh, no, almost. There it is.
Okay.
Chipmunks Rock the House is one of the few things we kind of agreed on because with music, because we've famously gotten into fake arguments about music before
have
on
we?
the internet. We have, yeah.
What?
What were the best or worst songs on certain lists, and we disagreed on almost all of them.
I remember none of this. What was some of the stuff?
I'm trying to remember now. It was, you posted a list of the supposed greatest songs of all time and which ones you thought did or didn't belong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bohemian Rhapsody does not belong on a top 1,000
But
list.
I think it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there we go. That was the biggest disagreement.
Also, it is silly to publish a top 10 greatest songs of all time list.
It is because all time hasn't happened really.
Well, no, but it's silly to publish at any point a top 1 or a top 10 greatest songs of all time list, because you could just publish the greatest 10 Nickelback songs of all time, and it's just the same list.
It's true.
It's the same list.
But we both loved Chipmunks Rock the House.
We both do love Chipmunks Rock the House, absolutely. This was my first album.
Yeah, and this is actually my first album that he's holding. This was also, well, it was my second album as a child. My first album was a Care Bears one. But this is the one I owned as a kid that I got in 1991, which is amazing. It's survived.
I love that it has a negative on the back.
Yeah, it's a negative of the front image, which is a fun thing they did.
Yeah.
I actually came to get this record because I grew up watching the Chipmunks and loved it, and you were mysteriously gifted it and weren't sure why.
Yeah, all of my albums when I was a kid, all my introductions to music were cartoon albums. So I had Chipmunks Rock the House, I had Chipmunks in Low Places, where they did westerns, I had The Simpsons sing the Beatles, and I had Looney Tunes sing the Beatles. So all of these famous songs don't sound right to me because I'm used to hearing them in cartoon voices with stuff censored. It's great. It's great. My musical trajectory is right on track.
In fact, you said it was just last year you heard Freedom 90, correct?
Yes, because I knew it as Freedom from Rock the House. Alvin the Chipmunk singing Freedom was my default version of that for a very long time. Like until last year. As was It Must Have Been Love. I only recognized that about 2 years ago.
That is a very fun difference of versions.
Yes.
It Must Have Been Love, yeah.
Yeah.
That one was really different.
Yes. Yeah, oh my god, all these songs. I think the only one I was familiar with beforehand was Ice Ice Baby, and that's because if you were a kid in the 90s, you couldn't escape.
No,
Ice
you
Ice
couldn't,
Baby.
and I actually loved that song, and I actually loved and played that song on this album so much it now skips in a very particular way on part of Ice Ice Baby. It got scratched from where, I guess, playing it, and it just continually skips, but it's near the beginning, so as long as you pick up the needle and moved it over the scratch, you could finish listening to the song.
Okay.
But I kind of wore that song out.
Wow. Wow.
I was a huge fan of it, both versions. I won't deny it.
Yeah. But you have Chipmunks facts.
I do have some Chipmunks facts. So it originally started as David Seville and the Chipmunks. It was created by Ross Bagdasarian, and he started as an idea for a novelty record. So it did actually start as records in 1958.
This record.
Yes.
Yeah, this was the original version of it in 1958.
No.
What?
No.
These were the original versions of all the songs.
Yeah, and that's where all the famous artists got the ideas from years later.
I'm glad you and they didn't even sing the songs. They just slowed down the Chipmunks footage.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's all a conspiracy.
Yeah.
No,
Illuminati
the
confirmed.
first album came out in 1959, which he produced with his partner Janice Carmen, and they made all of the Chipmunks records together.
Really?
Yeah. David Seville was actually played by Ross Bagdasarian when he started to take it as a live show and made puppets, and they appeared on the Sullivan show a few times.
Okay.
actually see some of the reruns of the Ed Sullivan Show when it used to come on Much More Music, which was Channel 14 here.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Did you ever watch the old Ed Sullivan shows?
I have not, and don't know who Ed Sullivan is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Well, YouTube it later.
Yeah.
But yeah, he very famously did a few performances with the Chipmunks. I think it was 2 maybe on the Ed Sullivan Show.
I do know who Ed Sullivan is.
Yeah, we make jokes.
Yeah.
The characters, actually, Alvin, Simon, and Theodore, were originally named after people that worked at the record company that the first album was produced with.
Cool.
He performed live with the Chipmunks from 1958 to 1972.
That's so weird.
Yeah. In 1961 was when they got their first animated cartoon, which eventually went into syndication, and then years later was revived in 1983 as Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then ran from 1983 to 1990. And of course, we started seeing it in Canada because we got a lot of Deke media, and Deke picked it up in its very last season, which was 1990, and started airing it from the beginning of the series, and then it ran in syndication with Deke for a little while.
I loved that show.
I did too. I especially loved the final season, which most people apparently didn't like, but that's when they did Chipmunks at the Movies.
I was going to say that!
I absolutely love Chipmunks
It's
at the
the
Movies.
best.
I know.
It's the best
I know.
season.
So it's...
Incredible lights and special effects. Chipmunks
go
to the movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, that was the best.
That was the best one.
Yeah.
So the first season...
Simon as Batman is amazing.
Yeah. He was the right character for that. The first season actually introduced the Chipettes, so that was when they came in. It was in 1983.
Yes.
Now, I've completely lost my train of thought.
Wasn't there a movie with them that was like around the world in 80 days, and they both did
there
a
was
race?
a ton of movies with them, yes. And I think that particular movie might have been based on a live show that they did, because there were a number of other Broadway live shows in between of different Chipmunk adventures.
Based on the live show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it was like costumes and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Did you not know this about the Chipmunks?
I didn't. It's just really weird to see like if there was like based on the live action experience
of
like,
the Chipmunks.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's hilarious.
Words have no meaning.
Yeah, well, they were puppets, so I guess it started out as a audio only, and then live show.
Yeah,
because it was a puppetry show, and then larger Broadway stuff. A ton of animated movies. It's always been produced actually by Ross Bagdasarian and Janice Carmen, which is the original team, and they are the same people that produced this record, which came out in 1991.
Yeah, they've got a really cool logo here, the Bagdasarian with Simon and Theodore kind of holding up with both hands, and Alvin in the middle of this kind of...
Productions.
Yeah.
Yeah, holding up the S in the middle.
Yeah.
So the way this is recorded, most people know, but in case you don't, they're recorded at half the normal audio tape speed. So the person speaks normally and sings normally, but it's recorded at half speed and then sped up so that it will make like a higher pitched chipmunky voice.
And then slowed down?
No, it's recorded at half speed so that it's automatically slower. And so then when you play it back at a normal speed, it's twice as fast.
I was wondering how they would pitch it, they would match it to the music.
So that's how they... So that's interesting, right?
That is interesting.
And it was originally, all of the voices were originally done by Ross. So he would sing in 3 different voices to make Alvin, Simon, and Theodore. And then it would be pitched up to make their chipmunk voices. But as of 1980 and on, it was done by studio singers that had been hired to play the Chipmunks.
Interesting.
So what they do to it to the music is the vocals are recorded at a different speed from the music.
Yeah.
And the music's recorded at a different time, and then they blend it together. So they would play back at the same time.
I'd really like to know how crazy it would sound if they recorded both at the same time.
It would probably be impossible.
I find like it would be a mess.
But it would still have taken a lot of work, especially considering the first album came out in 1959 and was like started production in 1958, right? So it would have been a lot of time and effort, especially until you made like certain advancements to make sure the timing worked out. Now, a lot of the songs that the Chipmunks did were originals initially, but they also covered popular stuff of the time, and that's why you got stuff like this.
Which is the best version of it.
Yeah.
Like, the best version of the Chipmunks is always, here's this pop song sung by the Chipmunks.
And even though this was something that had been commonly done in movies and even audio recordings, though less so in audio recordings, more so in film for effects, it's the Chipmunks that made it really popular, and it started a phrase called a chipmunk voice or chipmunking, and that's why people refer to it that way, is because of the popularity of these records.
Yeah, that's funny. I don't do a lot on YouTube on my own channel, but when I was trying back in the day, I was doing these writing tips and stuff like that. I hate the sound of my own voice. So
Me too.
Yeah, so I would up it. I basically created a little like chipmunk me, but he wasn't a chipmunk. He was just a stick figure. But I sped up the audio a bit so that
It would sound an octave higher?
Yeah, it would sound an octave higher so that when I was editing it, I wouldn't be hearing my own voice. But a lot of people were like, because Newfoundlanders already talk fast, so a lot of people were like, that is indecipherable to me.
Yeah, even when we don't think we're talking fast, we're apparently talking very fast, and it becomes hard to discern one word from another.
I know what you're talking about. This is the greatest album of all time. If you haven't listened to it...
Oh, you do need to listen to it. It's fun.
Listen to
it's a lot of fun. Now, you didn't actually have the record, though, right? You had the cassette tape.
I had a little cassette tape.
And if we ever find a picture, I might see if I can find a picture of the cassette tape online and just, like, insert it here.
Right here?
Yeah, right here somewhere.
Right here. I'm holding it up right now.
Oh, I don't know if I can be that fancy, but I'll try.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never owned a record player, actually.
Really?
I am a musical heathen. Yeah. I got to listen for...
My parents listen to a lot of things on records, so yeah, as you can see, this is, like, the glue is coming apart.
We're going to have to re-glue. So, list of songs that Matthew, at the very least, maybe not Mandy, heard for the first time as a Chipmunk version. Cradle of Love. Freedom 90.
It's
Rome.
just freedom on this.
Yeah, it's Freedom. Yeah. Rome. Rome if you want to. Yeah, which I actually heard the real version of.
The Shoop Shoop song.
Last week.
Really?
In preparation for this, I was like,
You
I was
heard
going
it for
through the list.
first time last week.
And I was like, I wonder what the real version of Rome sounds like. Yeah. Yeah.
That must have been a shock.
Yeah, what's funny is their voices are already pretty high pitched.
They are,
Like,
yeah.
you could have just played the B-52s on the album and it would have been fine. The Shoop Shoop song.
Does he love me? I wanna know. How can I tell if he loves me so? Is it in his eye? Oh no, you think it's see. Is that in his eye? Oh no, he'll make believe if you wanna know. If he loves you so, it's in his kiss.
It must have been love.
Express Yourself.
And Joyride.
Joyride, yeah. They get weirder on this side. The B-side's like...
The B-side is different. The B-side has an original song.
Alvin, who are all these people? I'm telling Dave we had nothing to do with this. Come on, Theodore. We can stay at Uncle Willie's.
Fellas, what's going on here? Alvin!
The B-side has an original song, but the A-side is all like love ballads.
Yeah,
And the B-side is like...
Dance
Kind of.
Yeah, like house party dance
Like,
tracks.
You Can't Touch This, Wiggle It, Ice Baby.
Cold Hearted, Unbelievable.
Hanging
Hangin' Tough.
I've actually never heard the real version of Unbelievable.
Have you never heard the real version of Unbelievable?
Never.
Wow. What about Hangin' Tough?
I don't even remember the Chipmunks version of that. I think I skipped that one every time.
You weren't a fan of New Kids on the Block?
I didn't realize that's who it was by, but yeah, that tracks.
That tracks?
That tracks.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy. Can we address how weird the cover is, though? Like, Simon's playing a tri-guitar, which I'm convinced does not exist.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't. You can only see double guitars, I'm pretty sure. And even they're like more so novelty than practical use.
They're playing two amps that are the size of half the wall of their house. There's cracks in the foundation. They're just destroying this house.
They are.
But
it's a very 80s thing to do, and therefore a very early 1990s thing to do.
Everything is going into, all the things are going into this same electrical outlet that's under a rug. So all three of these are going into this one. The drums are apparently electric.
Yeah.
The drums are electric.
They're also rigged up.
Yes. But Theodore is apparently hitting this one with such ferocity that
it's blowing out the back.
It has blown out the back of the drum, and he does not appear to be wearing pants.
Well, none of them are. Oh, no.
No. Yeah, they are. And he is not.
Actually, Simon's wearing a jumpsuit.
Yep.
And he has black pants. Yeah, Theodore's the only one not wearing pants.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if he were more hidden by the drum, you wouldn't really notice.
There's just a whole narrative going on in this picture.
Although I think very famously, didn't Theodore never really wear pants? And in the cartoon at the time this was made, none of them wore pants because they wore those long dress outfits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big t-shirt too big for you look.
Yeah. That came down to their feet.
Yeah. Which was wonderful and was a look that I could not pull off when the series was on the air. I mean, I tried, but, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is on your list of things to say.
That's it. That's everything. Unless you've got any memories or anything you want to share.
I have so many memories of this. So many memories of this.
All right.
Yes.
Go for it.
Well, they're all the same memory. They're all the same, like, sitting in my room with headphones that are monstrously big by today's standards. Like, just these massive headphones, listening to Rock the House while I was probably plotting out early novels that will never be written.
I used to listen to this in our living room most of the time.
Our living room?
No, my living room, my parents, my old house. When
I was going to say, we have different memories.
I had a little, one of those kids' suitcase record players.
Yeah.
Which I still have, but it doesn't work anymore. The belt is not right on it. So it goes all wobbly and won't play things right. But I'm sure it's something that could be fixed if I really wanted to fix it.
The little record player that's like a little mouse that goes around.
And I'm going to have to insert footage of it later because I used to listen to everything on this small record player. I inherited it from Mom. She got it as a child. It's a knockoff Star Wars record player. So when you open this unsuspecting denim-looking suitcase, it's a record player with a knockoff Star Wars patterns inside on the back of it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool. I always loved it. Mom always hated it.
Are you sure it's knockoff?
Oh, it's 100% knockoff. Yeah, it's
really
early
Star Wars stuff didn't look like Star Wars stuff.
It didn't look like Star Wars stuff, but this is very much like it was not in any way affiliated with anything. It was just sort of,
Space Wars!
This is my entire record collection, and this was the record player I was talking about. So it looks like a denim case, and when you open it up, there is a knockoff Star Wars / Flash Gordon / Space Adventures pattern that you will see now in a minute. This here was the very first record I owned, was a Care Bears picture disc. And a sort of Han Solo looking guy with a gun. And then a woman who looks very much like she's out of Flash Gordon. And the stand-in R2-D2 looks like something from Doctor Who. And then I'm not sure what these flying spacecraft are. But this sure was a choice that somebody made.
I used to listen to it on that and dance around to it because
I
in
love.
our living room.
I also loved more. Actually, I love this one. This was my favorite one to listen to. But the best I think of these albums, the Chipmunks one for comedy purposes, was the second one to this, In Low Places, the country one. Because for that one, they didn't just do their own recordings. They actually got the original singers to come in and do them.
That's really cool.
And like, so there's this song that I'm assuming was an early 90s country song that has since faded into obscurity, that was There Ain't Nothing Wrong with the Radio. So they got the country singer who actually sung that to come in, and Simon was arguing with him, like in a comedy, like Abbott and Costello style back and forth, because he was saying that ain't wasn't a word. So he was changing it to there isn't anything wrong with the radio, and they would just argue back and forth as Simon tried to correct the lyrics.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was actually
Yeah.
That's
actually really funny.
Yeah.
And a very Simon thing to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's neat because you don't get anything like that with this one.
No,
It's
this is
just covers. Like,
Yeah. The best versions of these songs that exist. Clearly. It's.
I mean, I prefer this version of You Can't Touch This.
I mean, yeah.
Which is sacrilege to say, I know, but.
You can't touch this. You can't touch this. My, music hits me so hard, makes me say,
Also, no, I'm not gonna say that.
You're gonna hold that one in?
Yeah.
You're gonna keep it? We're
No.
gonna cut this part out?
No, maybe. Okay, so if there's no way to say this that is appropriate, then cut this whole section out.
Okay.
But like, there's also the fact that You Can't Touch This is on here.
And then it's followed by Wiggle It.
But it's a weird spot because like when that song came out, every youth group in my community used that song as a PSA.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I learned this dance of You Can't Touch This. You can't touch
Oh.
it. And only as an adult did I learn that it was about like bragging that you're a good dancer and a good
Yeah.
singer.
And you can't come near it.
Yeah, I thought it was like
Oh, I've
personal space
ever
song.
actually never heard it used that way ever.
yeah.
Wow,
it was used
that's
in my
a really
community
different experience.
as a personal space song, and to me that's what it will always be.
No, the personal space song we had growing up was My Body's Nobody's Body But Mine.
That's fair. I believe that one's intended to be that way though.
You have your own body. Let me have mine.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's the song. That's the whole song right there.
That's interesting. But that one sounds like it's intended to be that
It
way.
is, yeah. It was an actual PSA.
Like,
that
I
we were
don't-
made to learn and watch videos on as kids in like grade 2.
I don't believe MC Hammer intended it. Like, I have
No.
a video, like, there was, on VHS, they would record, like, skating. I was in figure skating for a little while, for a very little while, but I still have that tape, and there was a bunch of kids being led by an adult that would skate around, and then the second the chorus would come around, we would all stop and face the camera and go, you can't touch this, do.
Oh wow, that's different.
Can't touch, yeah. It's special.
That's okay.
The top 10. It's really like the best albums in history. It's the first 9 slots are the greatest 9 Nickelback albums, and then there's this.
And then there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At number 1.
Oh well,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah. So Rock the House, followed by the top 9 Nickelback albums of all time.
So thanks so much for joining me today.
You're like, on that note,
We're ending it
get
here.
out of my house.
No, but seriously, thanks for coming to do this. This was fun.
This was a lot of fun. I like talking about.
I like talking about old word media.
Yeah.
And I will try to play some of these clips in between us talking if I can. They might be super tiny, really short clips because
You don't wanna
otherwise it would get flagged.
Yeah.
But I'll do my best to show you guys at least some of the records. So if you've heard it with music going through, fantastic. If not, then look it up.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Mandy.
You're welcome.
This is-
Except thank you very much for doing this with me.
No, not at all. I love coats and jackets. It is one of my favorite.
I somehow can't believe that, but thank you.
Have a great day. Have a great
Bye.
day. Bye.
That's it.
How long do we stare into the abyss?
As long as the abyss will let you stare back at it.
Now that is the record all the youngsters in the country are singing it, playing it, and here are...
Now, Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker.
Real nerd, people.
Yeah.
Not a fake
No,
nerd.
not a fake nerd.
fake nerd.
Brain fart.